7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. What time is it? 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes Saturday, 7 minutes. Welcome back for another episode of 7 Minutes Saturday with me, your girl. Just a FYI, real quick tidbit. My podcast, Revolution Tea, has returned. Yes, we are back. In 2020, I didn't have any episodes at all in 2018. But we're back. Revolution Tea on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, as well as Google Podcasts or Google Play. And always, it's in the description box too. So we're going to go ahead and do our thing. These actually got wet, so I'm hoping to be able to actually see what they say. Dealing with feelings of loneliness. All right. Okay. So, feelings of loneliness. I can identify with feeling alone or feeling loneliness. Not so much now, but like time before. And you know what? Honestly, okay. Let's take the wig off and get comfortable and vulnerable right now. I will say that I have felt feelings of loneliness, especially after having my baby. And it's like, it's so crazy. And you know, I think when it comes to loneliness, people who actually do have people around them, and like you have people in your presence, or people that you see day to day, you still can feel lonely. And something that I'm reminded of is, like when I read other people's stories, or I hear other people's stories, or, you know, I just watch certain things, I'm reminded that it's not just me. So, you know, I'm sharing now with you guys. If you're experiencing loneliness, I want you to know that you're not alone in that. But, you know, I think that for a lot of us, we look at loneliness and we feel like ashamed, or we feel embarrassed. And I think that that is what forces us deeper into loneliness. When you feel embarrassed and ashamed and you don't want to talk about it. And especially if you have people around you, you almost kind of feel like, I feel crazy for feeling lonely, or feeling like I'm alone, knowing that I actually do have people here. And so it's not necessarily that loneliness means that you're literally by yourself, like it's just you and that's it. Sometimes it's just circumstance. It's just where you are in life. And I think that a lot of times it's a lot of the things that we're dealing with internally as well as externally that makes us feel lonely and feel like we don't have people that we can count on. And a lot of times it starts in our minds, in our heads. Now, I cannot speak for everyone, but for me in particular, after having my baby, I did feel a bit of loneliness, or like I felt loneliness kind of creep in. And I think that for me, it was just because I was stepping into new territory, and it's scary. Like when you're doing something new, it's totally scary. And especially when you don't really know who you can talk to. And at the same time, in our heads, we're feeling like we're the only ones experiencing this. So there's no one that you can talk to, or you're almost kind of feeling like, oh, if I go and talk to someone, then I'm going to be a burden. And so you keep it inside into yourself. Well, what does that do if you don't talk to anyone? It just makes you even more lonely. And it like feeds that, you know, it's like this plate of loneliness here. You're just constantly packing on more and more and more. And you're just eating it even more without trying to allow anyone else to come to the table and share in this loneliness with you. Not that you're trying to make people lonely, but you invite people in, so as a means of them, you know, trying to get some kind of support and help. So I think that's a part of dealing with loneliness. So for me, in the instance after having my baby, I needed to talk to people who were not directly involved. So like when I went to my doctor for my checkup, I explained and talked to her. And so it helped to have her tell me, this is normal, what you're experiencing, and these are the things that you can do. Go outside, take a walk, take time. And it's almost kind of like you feeling lonely, you feel like you need to just immerse yourself into something or be around a lot of people. That's not necessarily the case, because sometimes you can feel even more alone being around people. So it helps to just get out of like your space. So you being at home, get out of that and go outside. I always talk about going out into nature because I really do believe that it totally transforms you and your life and your mindset and everything. It's just something about being out of nature. It's just you get oxygen, natural oxygen, even though we have all the emissions and all that stuff, but that's for another day. But just being able to get out and seeing creation and flowers, and it's just different. And so always you figure out ways, and I think that you can look back over your life and find a time when you didn't necessarily feel lonely. What were you doing then? What were you experiencing then? Who were the people that you were talking to? And try to go back to that and pick out those things that you can implement in your life now. And so I think that as far as dealing with your loneliness, you have to face it. With anything, you have to face it, and you have to be honest with yourself. You know what? I feel lonely. I don't like this feeling. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I don't want this to be my norm. So what am I going to do? So for me, anytime that I felt alone, I've taken the time to sit in my emotions and in my feelings, and even have a pity party. Oh my gosh, no one is here to help me. I don't have anyone that I can count on. I sit in those emotions and those feelings, and then I say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of feeling this way. So it's time for me to stop feeling bad for myself and do something about it. And so, I think that a lot of times we try to carry that chip on our shoulder, and we allow it to just push us down even more and more and more to where we feel depleted. And so the loneliness that we're feeling, we're not really dealing with it. We're just masking it by trying to be around all of these people, or going out on dates, or doing things that we really don't feel comfortable doing because we feel like that's the fix. And so it's more like a patch than really fixing it and getting to the root of the issue. So I think that as far as you dealing with loneliness, it's important for you to understand why you're feeling that way. So it could be just, the situations have changed, your circumstances have changed. You just don't feel like you don't have the right people in your life. And that could be the case. It may be that you need to It may be that you need to change up the people that you are connecting with, because they're making you feel lonely. Like the conversations that you're having, you can't have those same conversations anymore with these people, or you now are ready to move to another place in life, and these people just aren't meant to go with you. So, it's just so many different things when it comes to loneliness. And I think that it's important to know that in the midst of your loneliness, you're not the only one that's experiencing this, or the only person that has experienced it. So it's okay for you to reach out and try to talk to someone else. Even before that, talk to yourself. I do it all the time. People may think that you're crazy if people were to hear whatever, but even if you're at home by yourself, or if you have other people, go in the shower and get your feelings out. That's very important. Don't keep those feelings bottled inside. So anytime that I felt lonely, like even in relationships before, I felt lonely. So I had to take inventory and understand why I'm feeling this way. And it could be that I'm just not in the right relationship. And that's for friends, even family members, marriages, other relationships. It just may not be right. And also, before looking at other people, take a look at yourself and what you're doing and what you're not doing. That was a big thing for me. I had to look at the things that I was doing and the things that I was not doing. I was feeling lonely, but okay, I'm not reaching out to anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not putting myself out there. Like, of course you're gonna feel lonely. There are levels to loneliness. This is supposed to be a 7-minute video, so I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm curious to know what you guys think about loneliness, if you've experienced it or if you're experiencing it right now. Let's talk about it down in the comments. Don't feel ashamed or embarrassed or anything, because like I'm telling you, I've experienced it. I've experienced it even in this year, feeling of being lonely and remembering, and I had to remind myself, like, wait, no, hold on. Go back to the moments where you were not lonely. What were you doing? Or you didn't feel lonely. What were you doing? What do you need to do now? What do you need to implement now to let go of these feelings or to deal with this feeling of loneliness? So let's talk about it down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you can join this family. As always, continue to do things that matter and keep it random. I'll see you all next Saturday. Peace.